There are a lot of strategies for doing keyword research for YouTube, and you've probably noticed that none of them work. Okay, there's one strategy that does, and that's what you're going to learn in this episode. All right, we're going to do a demo here of keyword research, and I really want to emphasize how valuable what you're about to see is. And I admit it's going to be a little bit boring, but people pay me $1,000 per hour for this. Yeah, seriously, I don't do it very often because it's really taxing on the brain for me to do consulting type work. And oftentimes during my consulting, we'll open up this tool, and what I'm going to show you is actually what I do with my clients. Now, I have another video, I'll link to it right up here, where I go into depth on my entire strategy. So right now we're just diving in to implement that strategy, but if you want to understand what the strategy is, go watch that video. It's how to get 1,000 subscribers in a day on YouTube. Okay, so the first example I'm going to do is if you are an expert on book writing or helping people write their books. So I'm going to type book writing into this amazing tool. This is the Keyword Magic tool. You'll notice the company is SEMrush. They've been around a long time. They have a whole bunch of tools on their website, and I don't use any of them but this one right here. So watch what happens. When you hit search, you get a whole bunch of results like you'll typically see in a keyword research tool. You come over and you always got to turn on this button right here, questions. Okay, so it filters out everything that's not a question, and yet there are still thousands of results left. Then there's another filter that I always like to turn on, and that's word count. So by default, I go to 8. I love phrases or questions that are 8 words or more. When I hit apply, look what happens. We've got a lot of great questions here. Now there's going to be some that are very similar to each other. They're just slightly worded differently. And that's okay. We're looking for individual episodes, right? So I'll just check one out of a group that are similar. So this first one, how much money can you make writing a book? How to start writing a book about your life. Okay, that's pretty unique and specific. Okay, this one right here, how much can you make writing a book? I think that's talking about money, so that's so similar to that first one, I won't worry about checking that one. How to start writing a children's book, or how to start writing a book for beginners. Another couple here about money that I'll skip. Can you sue someone for writing a book about you? That wouldn't interest me, but that's definitely a specific topic that if you wanted to talk about that, you could get a lot of traction. Ooh, this one's fun. Do's and don'ts of writing a book. Here's another couple more. How to create an outline for writing a book, or how to get an idea for writing a book. How to start writing a book to publish. Now, I don't think you should answer this question, but it's a question I'm curious about. Is J.K. Rowling writing an 8th Harry Potter book? Do you need a writing degree to write a book? I don't know if that would take a whole episode for you to answer that question, but maybe it would. Okay, I grabbed a couple more, and for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to stop here, but I want to say you want to keep going even to page 2. As long as a phrase has at least 10 searches per month, that is gold. Okay, now think about that. When somebody asks a really specific question like this, they go to Google or YouTube and they type that in, and your video pops up, of course they're going to click on it because it's exactly what they were searching for, and they're going to watch that video all the way to the end. And the YouTube algorithm sees that and says, wow, that's a high-performing video. Let's suggest this video to more and more people. So even if you get a little trickle of people that watch your video at first, YouTube will then start suggesting your video to more and more people. So after you've checked all the ones that you love, and we'll make individual episodes about, I've just selected 14. You can export them. I open up that spreadsheet download, and then I'll copy them where I like to put them in my own Google Doc here. So I will come and just paste them. I like to just paste values only so you don't get any formatting. Now let's do a search for Ghostwriter. Turn on the same questions button and that same word count filter. I'll take it up to 8. So this is a good question, how to get a ghostwriter for my book. You could talk about the process. How much should I charge to ghostwrite a book? That's a good topic. So I didn't even know ghostwriters wrote songs, but I guess they do. How much do ghostwriters get paid for a song? And if you happen to know if Michelle Obama had a ghostwriter for a book, here's a good topic for you. So here's a few more. How to become a ghostwriter in the music industry, how to find a ghostwriter for my story, how to get a job as a ghostwriter. So the list ends here. Now we're at 0, and I go for search phrases that have 10 or more, but we found some good ones to start with. I'll export those. All right, and I'll just paste them into my Google Doc right there. All right, one more example for you. Let's do publish book. I've obviously kept those same settings and filters on. Let's comb through here. Wow, there's a lot. So again, how much does it cost to publish a book? How to get a children's book published? And I like how this one's even more specific. How much does it cost to self-publish a book? How to self-publish a book on Amazon? So even though I already checked one about how to publish a children's book, because this one's so specific, how to publish a children's picture book, anything that's specific like that, you can make a whole episode about, and that's a great idea. Now I found a couple good ones here that I'll talk about. How to get my book published for free. Maybe you know some good tips on doing that, and you're gonna have a big audience for that. But this next one as well, how to get your book published by Penguin. That's obviously really specific to one publisher, and so you could have a whole tutorial just focused on that one publisher. Now I don't know that I would do this, but if you know specific ways to do it in different countries, I mean people are searching for it in Ireland or in India. Another one for India right here. It's pretty interesting to find the ways that people are searching. How do I find an agent to publish my book? All right, so that was just the first page, and because we've still got search volume as high as 70, I know that I'm going to be able to find great results on several more pages here, and I would keep digging and digging and digging. I hope you can sense how valuable this is, even though this is the boring step. If you do this step first, you'll ensure that you have a built-in marketing strategy for your videos. If you film your videos first, post them to YouTube, and then think you can do your keyword research later, it doesn't work. Your videos may be amazing. You could have Steven Spielberg produce your video, but you don't have an audience. Even Hollywood has to put millions of dollars into promoting their videos, and if you put an amazing video on YouTube without a strategy, it won't get seen. So I thought of a few more examples I can show you, and we'll just demo this really quick to show you the power of this tool, just other types of content creation. So let's do create course. If you help people create courses. So we've got the same settings. These are questions that are 8 words or more. How to create an online course for free. How to create an online course to sell. How do you create it in Moodle? Or how do you create a course from a book? How to create a curriculum for a course. How do you create it in Canvas? How do you create a course for nurses? How do you create an online course in Blackboard? So this is great. So you're going to be able to comb through and find a lot of different topics here to teach very specific audiences about course creation. All right, let's do the next one. And just very similar to course is let's type in create curriculum. All right, so very, very specific. We already got that one there. How to create a curriculum for a course. So sometimes when you do searches like this, you don't find anything new, and that's okay. You just keep digging. So let's do one more. What about create content? I bet there's going to be an abundance for that topic. I kept on the same filters. All right, how to create a table of contents in Word. Let's probably skip that one. It's got too high of search volume for my liking anyway. And I want to get rid of the word table, because table of contents isn't really what I'm looking for. In fact, what if I do an exact match? There we go. So you can play around with it and try and exclude words like table, or you can do a phrase match, but let's take a look at the results we've got here. How to create content for your YouTube channel. Would you look at that? I like that one. I could make that episode. How to create content for teachers. I don't know what this pay teachers is about. How to use Google Trends to create content. How do you create content for social media? How to create content for a fashion brand, for an online course, for a credit repair business. So the point of showing you this tool is that you're never going to run out of topics to talk about. Now that you've caught the vision of the difference between push and pull marketing, I have a 5-ingredient formula that I want to share with you. I've recorded another episode. You can either click on it here or up here. The episode is how to get 1,000 subscribers a day on YouTube.